me now, I ain't no holy individual, but I am righteous. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna steal from you, I'm not gonna cheat you. I'm gonna tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. That's it.
Illah, SunRe, what's good, my digger?
Peace, peace, what's good?
Peace.
Good, man.
All right, welcome to Strictly for My Diggers.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you inviting me, bro.
Oh yeah, you already know. I checked out some of your work. You know what I mean? You definitely a digger. You're doing your thing, and you know, so you definitely deserve to be on here. You know what
Appreciate
I mean?
it.
So, you from Philly?
No, I'm actually born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky, man.
Oh wow! I guess
Yeah.
Ralphie Reese connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that just happened through Facebook. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I heard. I'm trying to remember which track I heard. I heard somebody posted one of his tracks on Facebook.
Right.
And you know, it was a dope track, man. I love, you know, he had that Raekwon Ghost style of MCing. Ghost is like Ray too. Those like my favorite cats two of my favorite cats of all time. You know what I'm saying? So I just reached out to dude. I sent them a track. He thought the track was crazy, and it was just it was history from there, man. You know?
Right. So you in Louisville, Kentucky. What the hell are you doing out there making boom bap? Why you throwing salt in the game? Why you sticking out like a sore thumb out in Louisville, Kentucky? Shouldn't you?
That's crazy.
Trap?
You know what? Everywhere I've lived. Hey, listen, everywhere I've moved to or lived in, everybody thinks I'm from somewhere up north, East Coast. You know what I'm saying? But it goes back to when I was younger, man. You know, I'm a what you call an old head. You know what I mean? So
myself included.
Yeah, exactly. So my pops, man, he's like him, and I would say my uncle, my mom's one of her younger brothers. They were like my biggest influences when I was younger. So my pops, man, you know, would take me by his uncle's crib, and in his basement, he had the big stereo with all the records. And I would just sit there and just look at the album covers while they listening to music. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And next thing, my pops joined the military, and then we moved to Germany, Swedish Gemüse, Germany. And over there, most of my father's friends was from New York. And he had this one friend, I want to say his last name was Bates. That's the only thing I can remember. His last name was Bates. I was maybe 7, 8 years old. And he was the first dude I seen that had the whole DJ setup. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 turntables, the microphone, you know, like in the military, you know, they got the barracks and, you know, they got them iron beds. So he's the only one who had a room to himself. So he took his I guess the other person's bed and used that as his setup. So my pops took me over there one day and let me get on the tables. That was like my beginning to loving records, you know what I'm saying? Like loving records, mixing. And it was like, once I got on that joint, it was like it was second nature for me, fam.
Right. Now, don't you hate like when you're in those areas like that and you don't like to tell people you make beats because you already know what they already on when they rhyme?
Right.
Like, because I'm from New York originally. I'm born and raised in Long Island, New York, but I live in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Right.
So, you know, it's a lot of trap going on. And, you know, it's like, you don't want to be telling people you do hip hop, you make beats. Oh, I rap. And it's like, come on, fam, we're not going to gel. You ever experienced that?
Yeah, I all the time, like people who know I make beats, they will introduce me to somebody who rhyme or who rap, but they more geared towards the trap sound, or, you know, towards a certain region sound. You know what I'm saying? Where I'll let them know up front, listen, I make sample-based beats. I don't know if you rock with that. I rock with that, but I don't know about getting the clearance and this and that and the other. I'm like, but you know, let's make the music first and then worry about all that later. That's mostly my, you know, my mental when it comes to putting music together. Let's make the music and see how that works first. But a lot of times I think they do that because I don't think they feel like they can get on a track like that and really show what they're capable of.
Right.
They're mostly geared towards that sound, so they're gonna stick to that. You know what I'm saying?
Right, because a lot of them will be like, "Oh, I could rhyme anything," but they really don't want to
Yeah.
rock with your beats. But the fact that they just need a beat maker to start them off right now.
Right. Yeah.
But they'll drop you once they find that trap dude that's making what they really want.
Yep.
You feel what I'm saying? So it's like being down here. I don't even like to tell them I make beats or he rap. It's like, listen, you got to be selective, and you got to hear what they got going on first. Now there's some who can be a Gibbs type of dude or a Currency type of dudes. You can find those type, but they're far few in between.
Right.
Yeah, man. But so what was the first piece of equipment you started making beats on?
The first beat, man. I knew I had a feeling you were going to ask me that, and I'm trying to think of the name because, man, this goes back to, I want to say maybe my sophomore, junior year in high school.
So this was 19.
I would say maybe like 15, 16. It's a record shop back in Louisville that my mentor, one of my first mentors, Izzy, took me to show me where he got his equipment from. And it was this little, it's like a foot pedal. I really believe. I went into the shop asking for a sampler, and I think they gave me like one of them guitar thing, them little guitar machines that repeat the guitar notes. Yeah, so the dude gave me one of them, but I also got me an Alesis SR16 to go with that.
Okay.
So I figured out how to use this the 1/4-inch cable, plug those up together, and it triggered the sample. So I would sample up my loop, make my drums with the SR16. And then I also had a Tascam board, so that's what my start was with the part. Yeah, making beats for making beats. So in high school, man, back in Louisville, I would come to school with my beat tapes.
You telling your age right now. You really telling your age right now.
Yeah. I don't mind. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that, man.
Yeah, it's all good. Right. Seasoned.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are you using now?
Now my choice of weapon is the MPC Live 2. I have a 2000 XL. I also have the Renaissance. I'm mostly an Akai guy. That was my after the Alesis, after high school, I moved to Texas, and I met this cat named Wayne, this white dude, cat named Wayne, dope engineer. He had an MPC 60. That was the first time I ever seen an MPC.
Right.
And I just fell in love with it because it reminded me so much of the Alesis SR16, but I hope I'm saying it right. I'm trying to make sure I'm saying that name right, but it was the black Alesis drum machine.
Right, yeah, I'm familiar.
And it reminded me so much of that as far as the programming and everything, but you can input your own samples.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I just fell in love with it from that day. I've never really touched anything else other than Fruity Loops. So yeah, I got the Live 2. So I don't know if you heard the sample playing. I had that running before we got logged in. Yeah.
So what made you go from the XL to the Live 2? Was this a natural progression, or you just got tired of the workflow on the XL is a little bit more tedious, right?
Yeah, the workflow was tedious. I think it was, honestly, it was when I got my hands on Fruity Loops. One of my young partners, he actually lives in Georgia right now.
Right.
Young Fluid. He's a nice spitter too, man. Young Fluid. If you ever get a chance, look him up. He's dope too.
Okay.
He put me on to Fruity Loops.
Right.
And I was one of them dudes like, I don't want to do. I like touching the pads and things like that. I like beating on the pads and chopping up samples and everything. So he put me on the Fruity Loops, and man, I fell in love with Fruity Loops, man. And then once Akai went to software based, that's when I got the Renaissance. So that's what made me go from the 2000 XL. I still have my 2000 XL. Don't get it twisted. Every once in a while, I'll pull it out and get that old nostalgia and want to just go the old route, you know what I'm saying? Right. Chopping up, making samples and stuff like that on there. But yeah, that's from there, Fruity Loops, and then using that Fruity Loops DAW is what made me move on to MPC software and go with the Renaissance and then the Live and everything else from there. Yeah,
it's definitely a game changer because I was on the MPC 2000 XL for like 20 years. And I've recently been rocking with this MPC Studio. Man, it's a game changer. You can send beats out quicker. I mean, it's not on a floppy disk. I don't have to keep buying these card readers. None of that. I mean, it's just been a blessing, man. It's definitely dope. You know, definitely dope, man. So I love it, man. It's just real small and compact or whatever, you know. Yep. So when it comes to your beat making, right? I know you're a digger. So are you still digging for records, or are you now digging online?
I'm these days I'm mostly an digger. I know some people think that's taboo, but listen, man, I'm at the age I am now, I don't want to be sitting in record stores for 5-6 hours like I used to.
And like eventually you run out of room.
Yeah, exactly. And you run out of room. You run out, you know, I had a whole separate room, like not in where I'm at now. I got a whole separate room just for where my records are at. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta have a whole separate room just for that. So yeah, it was more of convenience, you know, that I started going to digging. I joined I don't know if you heard of the group The Vinyl Frontier.
Yes. Like
a lot of your favorite producers are in that community, fam. I'm telling you right now. You may not know, I ain't gonna say no names. I've seen the messages and things like that, but a lot of your favorite producers are in that community. You know what I'm saying?
And what is the Vinyl Frontier? What are they doing? I've heard the name, but what is
so that? Basically it's Refi Lee. He's like the main dude. I ran across him, I want to say maybe around 2012, 2013.
Okay.
He had a website, Vinyl Frontier, where he would post the albums online that he would go out and find. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually he started a full site where, you know, you pay a certain amount a month, and then he'll give you 5-6 gigabytes worth of music a month from just records he got in his record collection.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or people he know from his record collection. But then there's other sites like you know, I found some blog sites, progressive. There's one called Progressive Reviews, where they post a lot of like prog electronic music. You know what I'm saying? So because I like electronic sound, you know, especially over boom bap beats, some electronic sound nice, man.
Yeah, they do.
But it's a whole bunch of sites, man. Just digging. What I normally do is I search blog sites, music blog sites, and that's where I find a lot of my records nowadays.
Okay, cool. Now your drums, are you getting drums strictly off record? Where you get, or packs? Where you getting drums from?
I use packs. I use records. Matter of fact, one of my main drum folders that I use I actually got from a Puerto Rican cat I met. He's also he's also an MC, nice Puerto Rican MC. He goes by the name of Tech Uno or Tech One. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, sounds familiar, right? Yeah, Tech Uno. You look him up. Yeah, he got video footage out there. So he lives out here in Texas. That's where I live now. I live in Texas. So I met him through his wife. Me and his wife had worked together at an old job I had. So she knew about me making beats. She was always telling me about her husband and wanted us to meet. And we met one day. He's like, man, look, he brought me to his little room and showed me a folder, a hard drive he had. And he had a whole hard drive full of just nothing but drums. I mean, Alchemist drums, Premier drums, just different drum kits, man. And he let me get it. I want to say it's about a good 2 gigabytes worth of drums.
Right. You know what's fly about them drums? Those drums be like, it feel like something be already compressed. You know what I mean? Knock. Don't, and if you stack them, even Illah. So are you stacking drums too?
I do sometimes. I mean, I feel like I can mix. You know, I'm pretty well versed in mixing my drums and everything. So when I put everything on a mixing DAW, I feel like I can kind of like pump the drums up through there as well. But yeah, I do stack some also.
Right. Now, do you quantize your drums? Are you quantizing them, or do you quantize off?
No, I quantize. It just depends on how it depends on how I feel. Like I know a lot of cats got their own way of doing things. I just go with a feel. If I'm feeling like making the drums first, I'll do that. I may quantize, I may not. Usually I go by how the sample sounds. If I'm gonna quantize or not, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I do. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just depends on how the beat progression is going, if I'm gonna do it or not.
So when you starting the beat, are you starting with the sample first, or you start with the drums?
Most times I start with the sample first. That's really because I already know what the drums sound like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So most of the time I start with the sample first. And pardon me, G, is the lighting good on my side?
Everything's straight, man. Keep going.
Oh, everything good? Okay. I just want to make sure because I know the sun is starting to go down here, and the room I'm sitting in kind of gets dark. So I just want to make sure it's good for you. But as far as my beats, I mostly start with the sample because, like I said, I already know what I want my drums to sound like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I will normally start. I'm looking for a sample. I like melodic, orchestral. Like strings, a lot of cello bass in them, or a nice bass line to them. I just like melodic stuff. You know what I'm saying? I know some cats like the dark, grimy horror movie, spatial sound effects and things like that. I like melodic, you know what I'm saying, with strings, pianos, keys, just different stuff like that, man.
Right. So like your BPMs.
Yeah.
What's your range? What's your range that you like to stick in?
Mostly around 84, 83, 84. Sometimes I'll pump up to 93. Like the beat I was just playing, that's about 84. Okay. 84 matter of fact, it says 84.25 BPM. So yeah, about 80, 84, 85 BPMs. That's mostly my rate. Yep.
So in your opinion, is there a difference between a beat maker and a producer, or is it all one and the same?
There is a difference because I like to see myself as a producer, because especially when I'm in a studio and I'm with an artist, because we're trying to create a sound together.
Right.
So you wrote your rhyme, but you may have not wrote your rhyme to my beat. You probably just heard my beat when you got to the studio.
Right.
So at that point, I got to be the producer. I got to become a producer, and I got to walk you through how I need you to sound on this beat, so we can have that mutual agreement on how the song comes out once everything is completed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like a lot of times I like to tell the cats I work with, or any rapper I work with, or artist, singer, artist, rapper, whatever, make sure you remember your voice is an instrument too. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you want to ride the beat. You might want to spit your rhyme to the hi-hat. You know what I'm saying? You might want to spit your rhyme to the way the snare is playing through the sequence. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like catch that, listen to that. And so, yeah, I like to see myself as a producer. There is a difference, because when you're a beat maker, you're just making the beat. You're not, I don't know, a lot of times if cats are thinking, let me hear, who can I hear on this? Like when I make a beat, a lot of times I may not be rapping or coming up with a rap, but you know how you'll just be sitting there thinking, I don't know if you do this, but I'm just asking if this is what you do. You'll just start in your head just thinking of a cadence. You may not even be saying words, but you'll just start thinking of a cadence to the beat you're making, and what MC spits that type of cadence. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I like to see myself as a producer, but I'll know the difference between a beat maker and a producer. There is a difference. Yeah.
Absolutely, because the thing is, also, right, see, a beat maker can be a producer.
Yes.
Producer doesn't necessarily have to be a beat maker.
A beat maker, right.
Puffy's a producer, but to me, the beat maker is the one with the raw skill. So I'll probably take the title of beat maker first, because the beat maker is the one that can chop and put it together. The producer, like I said, someone who's just a producer, turn that up. Lower that
exactly.
EQ that. Like I said, like a Puffy, or maybe, I think if I'm correct, maybe a Quincy Jones or whatever, people who don't even have to touch the equipment. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why you read when I refer to, you all as beat makers, because that's the rawest essence just making the beat. That's the skill that a lot of producers don't have. They can't make that beat. You know what I'm saying? So the beat maker is like the foundation of being a producer. See, there's a lot of beat makers out here because the internet, you can't be all over the place and things like that. And it does has disadvantages, but a lot of these albums today came out pretty dope, just them shooting tracks together. It probably be even better if they're in the studio together, because I know a lot of times you'll send a beat and you're like, damn, he came in on the wrong part.
Yeah,
damn, he came in where the hook was supposed to be. I didn't want him to do that. Or damn, he rhymed about this, but this was supposed to be a female song or a story track.
Exactly.
That's where you be like, because you know, like you said, you having in mind the cadence, but you also have in mind maybe a topic. But when you send that beat to the MC, he does something totally left. It may still be dope, but it's like, damn, I wish this is what I had in mind. And that's why you to be in the studio with that person, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's definitely it has its pros and cons.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Pros and cons, because you give that MC free reign to do what he wants to the beat. But a lot of times I'll send a beat and I'm like, listen, I think this sounds like a female song. This sounds like a story track, you know? But then again, like I said, it's all on the MC, because at the end of the day, he has to find a way to be that last instrument in the track.
Right.
So it's definitely crazy or whatever. So let's go get back into some beat signs. This is strictly for my diggers. This is from beat maker to beat maker. I ain't no regular interviewer. We talk about beats and getting deeper into the science of beats. Now, do you think every beat should have a bass line in it?
No, I don't think every beat should have a bass line in it. It helps. It helps though, you know, but I don't think they should all have a bass line in it. You know, some, you know, you might have like a sound that you don't want to use a bass line because the bass line may take away from that. It's just like with I don't mean to go off subject right here, but it's just like with drumless beats. You know what I'm saying? I made drumless beats back in the early 2000s, and I felt like I did it because I think drums would take away from it. So yeah, I feel like sometimes certain sounds take away from the overall sound of the sample or beat that you're trying to produce or get out there. So not all beats need a bass line, but it does help though. It does help.
So how do you keep yourself from overproducing a track? Man,
that's tough. I mean, that's a good question. Because when you asked that, it made me think about Young Fluid again, my young homeboy, man. He said, man, he once told me the most simplest things you do sometimes be the best.
Right.
And I took that to heart when he said that. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop overthinking stuff sometimes, because sometimes you do that. You overthink. You'll be sitting there listening to a beat and you'll be like, it sounds dope, but I need to do something else. And really, you don't need to do anything else to it.
Right, because a lot of times with the MCs being in that boom bap range, we're working with skillful MCs that really need all of that.
Right.
You know, so sometimes it's better to keep it a little simple and not overcomplicated. You know, because I notice, you know, a lot of producers want to overproduce things, and I'll hear certain beats and be like, "Dad, he can leave that part out." That's
right
as it is, and just let the the MC just get loose over it, because you want to leave room for the MC, you know. So yeah, I definitely feel your man on that. Like the simplest things, man, just work, just keep it simple. Overthink it.
Keep it simple. Yeah,
and don't overthink it, because a lot of people now are rhyming over beats you listen to, like, okay, all right, that was simple, but to the average head, that is not beats. That shit sounds crazy, complex, and spectacular. You know?
Exactly. So I'm trying to think of a like with Ka. Yeah, he's the best example.
Right.
Ka's the best, man. I love Ka's work, man. Like everything he makes. Yeah, it blows my mind, bro, because it's just the simplest. It's just a loop. Hardly any drums. It's mostly a loop. But just the way he puts everything together, and it sounds like you're experiencing something. You know what I'm saying? When you listen to his music, you know what I'm saying? Right. So like that dude stuff blows my mind sometimes when I hear his music, man.
Absolutely, because sometimes less is more, and that's that rock piano. You know, and you know what's funny? Because a lot of people are getting on in the game just doing whatever the hell they want to do, just doing them. Not following no real script, just doing them, and it's getting applauded, and it's just nothing wrong with that, you know?
Right.
At all, nothing wrong with that at all. So, how many sequences are your beats for the most part?
Really, it depends on the artist I work with. You know what I'm saying? I'll let them know. You know, I put the track together. If you need me to make more sequences, like to fit your, you know, how many bars you write, then I'll do that. But as far as just straight creating the beat,
yes.
When I'm creating the creating process, I'll probably use anywhere between 5 or 6 sequences.
Okay.
And I'll make 4-bar sequences each sequence.
Okay, so in each sequence, how many tracks in each sequence?
Oh, maybe like 4 or 5 tracks.
Okay.
Because one track will be a sample. You know, I'm gonna put the hi-hats, depending on where I got the drums from. Right. If the hi-hats and the kicks and snares are all a part of one set, then I'm gonna put those on one track. Right. If they're separate, then I'm gonna separate the hats, kicks, snares, opens, you know, cymbal, crashes, everything else. I'm gonna separate everything else like that. Yeah.
So that means basically you have no problem using drum loops.
No, I do not have I love drum loops. Yes.
Me too.
I love
the reason I love drum loops, see, I'm not a drummer, and that boom, bap, the doom, doom, that can get tiring and boring after a while. But when you like you find like an ill drum loop that you can like kind of chop in and just loop it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Their rhythm. You know what I mean? And that's why sometimes I start with the drum first. Sometimes I get that ill drum rocking. Right. Find something to go over it. You know what I mean? So it's not, you know, one way to, you know, make a beat, you know, but I love drum loops. I love it because drum loops give the beat a whole different rhythm when you use someone else's rhythm that knows how to play. Yeah. Yeah. You know? Exactly. Yeah, I be loving that. I definitely be loving that. So let's talk about like the science of like sending beats to artists. Now, when you send the beat, you only sent Ralphie Reese one beat, or did you send him a pack?
It just depends on what I feel like when I make the beat. If I think he'll dig it, I might send him, you know, the beat that I just made. Like one I just did yesterday. I sent him a beat yesterday. I just put it together and I just shot it to him. I was like, you know what, I think that you'll sound dope on this, but check this out. Or I'll send him a pack of beats. I'll send him maybe like 4 or 5 beats. And say, hey, just let me know which ones you rocking with, and we can go on from there. Right. So nowadays, with the beat makers or whatever, are you producing full time, or is this something you're doing as a hobby, as a passion, and you know you work full time? How do you know? Nowadays, I would be honest, it's more of a hobby. I'm not producing full time like I used to. Right. So yeah, I would say it's mostly a hobby, but because I got, you know, cats who I can reach out to who are, you know, still making the music, who are still going hard with the music. I'll, you know, every time I may say, hey, check this out, or I'll post a link and tag somebody on it and say, you might feel it, you know, you might like this, and reach out to me if you do. So yeah, I would say it's mostly hobby than full time now. But I just love to do it. So they say when you love to do something, you're not working. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I've been, you know, this has been a passion of mine, like making beats, making music, just basically really just getting into the whole hip hop thing. It's just been a passion of mine since I was like a young kid, man. So it's just never left me. That's all. Likewise. So for the most part, when you're reaching out to these MCs, are you just giving them beats, or are you selling them beats? I'm selling. Sometimes the cat will hit me up for a beat. I'll post a beat, and I'm probably about 2 seconds from throwing it away too. So sometimes I'll give them a beat. Where are you posting it at? Instagram, my Instagram, Facebook. I'll post snippets of me working on samples, and cats will hit me up like, yo, what's up with that beat? And I'll let them know, hey, you know, this is what I need for that. Or, you know, oh man, I was just about to throw this away. I ain't even like how it came out. So if you want it, I'll send it to you. Right. You know what I'm saying? But it's for a fee, right? But yeah. Right. So if you don't mind me asking, what is the price range with, you know, the average price range of a beat nowadays? If you're gonna, you know, like most MCs are buying beats for, you know, what's the price going range now? As far as I don't charge much. I usually am between $200-300 a beat. I know some cats is going for the gusto, you know, ask for $500 up to a stack for a beat, a G for a beat. But me, $200-300. Right. I just want you to pay for the time, my time, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like the time I took to make this, you know, I ain't trying to, you know, I'm not trying to be rich and famous off this. Well, I'm trying to be be comfortable.
Right.
But it's not like I'm trying to be on BET next week. That's not my goal. My goal is just to make music and love what I do.
Right. So since this is underground hip hop, do you feel it's important to clear samples or nah?
Say it again.
Do you think it's important to clear samples or no? Right now, in this stage of the game that you're in, do you think you need to clear samples, or
I think it's important to know what samples need to be cleared. I think because you don't want to just go into making a song or putting out an album, and then next thing you know, you getting hit up about fees for using people's property. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to know what artists you are dealing with, to know what their tendencies are if you're gonna use their stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it definitely makes sense. Definitely makes sense, because I spoke to other producers, and they've been able to fly under the radar. Sampling or what have you.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of producers. They're mostly like, it's on the artist if they're gonna put this out.
Right.
Then that's on them to do it.
And they're saying they're not selling a lot of records anyway.
Right.
For them to even come. They say if they come for you, that means you're making money.
Yeah, exactly. That's usually what it is.
They're making money. So when you work with an artist, do you prefer to do whole projects, or do you just give them beats here, beats there? What's your preference?
I prefer to do a project with an artist. I prefer to do a project with an artist, man. Like, now I don't mind doing a track here and there. That's great too. But I prefer to do a whole project, because sometimes your sound or the beat that you make, you want to do more to it. You want to provide more, a wider range of who you are as an artist as well, because you're an artist too. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So I agree.
So I really prefer to do a project with an artist, but it's not the end all be all. I don't mind, one track here, one track there. I mean, that's usually my guy Majestic Fatal, man. That's normally how we work. He'll get beats from all kind of people, man.
Right. Gotcha. So how do you know when to give a beat away and when to sell a beat to somebody? How do you
most of the time? That's a good question, man. And it's tough when you really think about it, because you don't want to really give no beats away to nobody. But like I said, sometimes I'll hear a sample and I might like the sample at first, but once I put it together and loop it up and throw drums to it, I'm not really feeling it after that. So I may not throw it away, but it'll be stashed away, and somebody else will probably hear it and be like, I like that. You like that? Really? Okay, well, this is what we can do for that.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because it was one time I made this one track. It was maybe, I want to say about 2006. We was in my man Wayne's studio. It was around 2006. I made this one beat. I was using like a mariachi type band, that Western sound, you know what I'm saying? And I put it together, and I liked the beat. I loved it. We sitting in the studio. My man Majestic Fatal had just finished the session. He was working on a project, one of his own solo projects. And I said, we was just sitting around. It was me, about 3 other MCs, my man Young Fluid, who I mentioned to you before, my other cat who lives in DC, Vic Thomas, he was there. And I said, I got this beat. I don't know if y'all gonna like it. And I put the beat on, bro. They all pulled out their pens and pads.
It's a great feeling, isn't it? Yeah.
And that's a great feeling by the beat. And I promise you, the Wayne who ran the studio, he was ready to shut it down. Once I put that beat on and he heard everybody's verses, he's like, man, let's go ahead and record this, man. Let's go ahead and get this done. From there, we created this track called Shock and Awe, which is, it was a dope track, man.
Yeah, because a lot of times, even when I post beats on Instagram, I post the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'll say, this is whack juice, and they'll be liking that shit. And I'm like, you like that?
Right, yeah. Exactly.
I don't, a lot of stuff. I don't be standing by some of my stuff, and I'm like, you really like that? But it's the shit that's dope. They won't pick it if you send them, a beat CD or whatever, or a pack. They'll pick the one that you like. You really you like that?
Right.
And sometimes, have you ever had it the time when you didn't like a beat, but after you hear the MC rhyme over it, you like the beat?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to. Matter of fact, I'm trying to think which. It's a project that I had did that I done with my boy Vert, and I'm trying to think. It was I don't want to say I didn't really like it. It was just that I was thinking maybe they won't be feeling it because of the sample,
right?
Because it was very orchestrated. It had a lot of orchestration in it, like strings and stuff like that. I took a sample from Spartacus, from the Spartacus movie.
Right.
The love theme, remember the end of Spartacus when the movie ends, it's that track that plays at the end. I used that sample,
right,
and it had just been sitting there, and I let my boy Vert hear it,
right,
and he loved it. Right. And I really, and then I really wasn't, I liked the beat, but I wasn't in love with the beat, basically. And then once he put his rhyme on it, and he wrote his hook, and he sent me back everything he did,
right,
man, I mean, it's crazy. If you go on my SoundCloud, matter of fact, if you look up my SoundCloud, the prestigious Beatsmith, it's a track called Space to Breathe. That's the song right there.
Gotcha. I definitely do the announce to that. So one more question before we get up out of here.
For sure.
What tips would you give for up and coming beat makers that's trying to do their thing, you know what I mean, and make moves within this underground hip hop game?
Man, do what you love, man. Do what you love. You're gonna have critics, you're gonna have supporters, you're gonna have haters. Just make sure you're doing what you love, man. That's it.
Word. Well, yo, I want to thank you for coming on and being on the check-in. You know what I mean? Illah SunRe.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? This is strictly for my diggers. I made this platform for us. Like I said, tell a lot of producers and beat makers that, we get the short end of the stick a lot. We don't get celebrated. Artists will take the tracks, run off with it, make money with it, leave us in the cold, or we don't get the recognition. So this right here allows, the audience to put a face to the name.
Right.
Produced by Illah SunRe, they never get to see you. They just hear you. But now they get to see you, who you are. And so I'm putting the beat making in the forefront with this platform because we definitely deserve it. Because if the MCs didn't have no beats, they couldn't make no album. You can't make an album. We can make beat instrumental albums all day, but they cannot make an acapella album. No one's going to buy that. So we have to know our worth and be able to stand up for ourselves and say, listen, this is what we do, this is what we want, and we have to start setting the terms.
Right, exactly.
And things like that, Yep. So, like I said, it's strictly for my diggers, and this is platform for us. I'm a beat maker. Right. This is beat maker to beat maker dialogue, as you could tell. I'm a beat maker from the questions that I ask, and things like that. So I'm definitely for the beat maker, pro the beat maker. So it's like food for us, by us.
Right,
and things like that. So I just want to, salute you.
Appreciate you. Thank you. No problem. Yes, sir.
Because you're definitely me. You're one of us. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Definitely
yes, sir. And vice versa. Yes, sir. Absolutely. I appreciate you, giving me the spotlight to, to speak my piece and give my side of things. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate that, man.
There you go. We don't always get a chance to do that. So this is the platform for it,
Yes, sir.
All right, yo, keep making that heat, man. Keep making that heat. I appreciate what you do. I'm still watching. Follow me on IG. Go and go subscribe to the page. Strictly My Diggers on YouTube. Definitely subscribe to that and things like. And we'll definitely keep in touch.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
Right. Peace, my diggers.
Peace.
I'm gonna tell you now, I ain't no holy individual, but I am righteous. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna steal from you, I'm not gonna cheat you. I'm gonna tell you